Ross, thank you so much for joining me on the podcast today. It's really lovely to have you on. How's it all going?
I think it's going okay. It's weird, like watching yourself back, but I think like I've just got to take like each episode as it comes because obviously we don't know what's going on until we watch it. So I feel like I'm a viewer even though I'm on telly. It's weird.
Yeah, because I imagine it's kind of that thing when you're kind of in the moment. You're obviously, I know things like that when you're kind of in the moment, you don't really remember it sometimes. So I imagine to watch it back for you now is probably still quite fresh.
Oh my god, yeah, like I can't remember what I did yesterday, let alone like everyone's like, oh, like what's can you remember this happened? Can you remember that happened? And I'm literally like, no, I can't remember. So when I'm watching, I'm like, oh, we said that or we did this. And it's interesting to see what people actually do like when they're actually filming like Peggy and George on their own. Do you know what I mean? Because we don't
Yeah.
see it. So it's like, oh, they had a conversation like that. Oh, that happened. But yeah, it's just weird. I think it's weird. And it's like re-jogging my memory, but I feel like it's happening different to how I thought it happened. But I suppose that's you in your mind saying it happened like that when actually that's how it really went down. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. You're right there. And obviously, when other couples are in their apartments, you obviously don't know what they're speaking about. Obviously, dinner parties are different, but then obviously it's probably interesting for you to see what other people got up to when you weren't there, when you and Thomas weren't there, for example, and things like that. And I guess obviously there's a lot we haven't seen as viewers because obviously only so much can make the actual hour-long show. So I imagine it's kind of interesting for you to see, oh, what actually made the cut.
Yeah, it is weird because you're like, oh, I wonder if they're going to put that in because that was funny. And then it's like, oh, they didn't put it in. And it's like, well, they're just like putting in the dramatic things at the minute. Like, I
Yeah.
feel like it's all about the drama. So it's like, they're not going to put you just being silly, running around a table acting like an idiot. They're actually going to put stuff in that's going to make the audience see so that you don't want to watch.
It's
Um,
typical TV.
yeah, they
Yeah.
just TV. They just want good TV. And I feel like with me, like I'm not involved in any of the drama, so I feel like I come across quite boring because I'm literally sat there like,
Yeah. I imagine you're just there kind of soaking it all in as everybody's arguing.
I know, like I did feel like the first dinner party, Spoongate, I was literally felt like, wow, this
Yeah.
actually happens. Like people actually argue like this. And I had a moment where I was like, I'm actually in the TV. You know, when you watch it at home and you're like, oh, as if they're arguing. I was actually like, no, but you're actually in the TV. And I was like, this
Yeah.
actually happens. These people actually argue, like, even though we don't know each other.
And the fact it was over a spoon as well was quite amusing, that dinner party. It really was.
I know, and I was like, can everyone just say sorry? I was like, please, it's a spoon.
I think you said that, and then Jay did as well. It was very, very, very strange. But there has been obviously a lot of drama since then, which we will come on to.
Yeah.
But I want to obviously I did this with George, and I want to do the same with you, Rod. Do you want to explain a little bit about yourself to me before obviously going on Married at First Sight and everything? 'Cause it's kind of nice to obviously get to know the person obviously behind the person that's on the show. Really, yeah.
Yeah. That is true. Like, so I am actually born in Crewe and I live in Crewe. And there was like a thing that said born in Crewe, lives in Crewe, dies in Crewe, and I thought probably true. But yeah, I'm a florist, and then I set up like my own flower growing business. So I've been doing that since COVID, really. So I've done that since 2019, and I've just loved it. And I feel I basically applied for the show because I was with my ex partner for quite a long time, and he like left me. Oh, but he did leave me, and at that time I was really sad.
I think I remember you saying that, yeah, on the TV before, like when you were introduced before, obviously your wedding day, yeah,
Yeah, and it was like, oh no, like I was sad, but I do believe like things happen for a reason. Like I was supposed to be with him for a certain amount of time, and then I think no matter how much sadness you're in, you've got to think like, well, this was supposed to happen to me. We weren't meant to be together forever, and things happen for a reason. So I think like if you change your mentality like that, then you can just smile all the way through and think life's great.
yeah.
uh,
So
Go on.
it sounds like it was a big decision for you then, obviously, to go on Married at First Sight after obviously having a big breakup. But had you been kind of obviously a fan of the show and an avid watcher before all of this happened? And then when that happened, did you kind of think, oh, Married at First Sight, or did you just see applications on the TV? How did it come about? How did you come aware of MAFS and decided to apply after all of that happened?
So yeah, I think like one day I was literally like being upset to my sister, my younger sister Millie, being like, I'm never gonna find anyone, like, you know, I've been dumped, I'm getting closer to 30, what am I gonna do? And then I think Millie was literally like, well, why don't you just apply for like Married at First Sight? And I was like, and then she was like, what about Love Island? And I thought, well, I'm probably more Married at First Sight, I'm not that confident in a bikini. And then I thought, yeah, right, so I just applied. And I never even thought I'd get it back. I think I just lived in this like imaginary world of being on a TV show, and it got me through the breakup because I just lived in La La Land instead of actually concentrating on reality. And then when I actually got on, I was like, oh my God, no way. But I did always used to watch it on telly, so I knew kind of the gist of things. And I thought it'd be exciting, it'd be fun, it'd be new. Like, you put out in the universe what you want to like receive. So if I just put like happiness and friendliness and kindness, hopefully my husband will be all of that. I'm back.
Your match, yeah. So was it a big decision for you then? Of course, obviously you said you were kind of living in this world of being on TV, which obviously helped you get through a breakup. But was it a big decision when you were thinking of going on Married at First Sight? Like, did you ever think, what am I doing marrying a stranger? Did that ever occur to you, or were you all for it?
No, I feel like I'd go through like waves. So because I was like living in this life, like life's gonna be amazing, life's gonna get better, I'm gonna find a husband. And then sometimes I'd have moments being like, oh my God, like what does he look like? Will he like me? It was those sort of stresses. But I feel like it is a huge thing. But if you're ready to commit yourself to someone, which I was going to commit to my ex-partner, like if you're ready in life, then why not? Why not just jump in and do it?
And you've obviously taken a big risk going on the show. But what was it? What was the process like after you obviously got the call back to say there's been a match found? How was that then, processing that you were actually going to go on this experiment and be on the TV?
I feel like the penny didn't drop until I got to the bottom of the aisle, because I was just like blasé, like I live in fairyland. So I was just like getting a dress and, you know, packing up my whole life and traveling to London. And it was like, it wasn't actually until I got to the end of the aisle that I was like, oh no, what the hell am I doing? And I remember turning to Dad being like, I can't do it. And Dad was like, Roz, come on, you've not like done all this. And I thought, shit. And then I walked down the aisle. And obviously, I think in that moment, I was so overwhelmed, like, that I was a bit like standoffish to Thomas, like, obviously, as you all saw. But
Yeah.
I understand it's huge to walk down an aisle and be confident and chirpy when you're absolutely cacking your pants.
Yeah, I can totally understand, because I imagine that's the moment it kind of all does it does really kick in at that point, and it really does like get in your mind about what you're doing and everything. But how do you think your wedding day went? Because of course I think do you remember saying, I think yours and Thomas was one of the more awkward ones to begin with.
Oh, I know. And like, it was when I watched it, I was like so sad. I
Yeah.
was sad because like I pride myself on being like friendly, kind, warm, chatty. Like I run my business off being personable. Like my business is just me and I'm the face of it, and it's run on social media. So people come to my business because they like me. And to watch that version of myself where I'm quite cold to Thomas, I'm not very talkative, was sad. And I started judging myself. I started being like, wow, I am not a nice person. I obviously make people feel uncomfortable. No wonder I'm single. When actually, when you look at the pictures of the wedding day, Thomas and I are super smiley, like we're laughing. I actually put the ring on his wrong finger. And I think you've got to remember that's an edit, you know, for a storyline, when actually the day wasn't all like that. Like, and for me, it was just trying to get my head around that all these people that are saying negativity about you, they don't actually know how the day went.
Yeah. It took us, like we said earlier, it's only an hour as well.
Yeah. And I think like they've got a story for everyone's relationships because they want the people to get involved and invested. And I just had to remember, like, Thomas kept ringing me being like, it didn't happen like that, it happened like this. And I think at the end of the day, we were awkward, but there was moments of like beautiful moments too. Do you know what I mean? But obviously, like, yeah, that was not good for me. Like, I watched it back thinking, oh my God, I'm a terrible person.
So yeah, of course, obviously. What were your first impressions when obviously you walked down and seen Thomas, and what were the kind of things you had in common when you first met him?
I feel like when I walked down, I didn't even look at him. I know I didn't, because I was like so overwhelmed. I was shitting it back there. I didn't even want to walk down. And then I think at the top, I was like giddy. I remember like reading out my vows and then being about like animals, and his actually being from the heart, you know. And I was like, oh shit, I fucked it already. And then I was putting on his wrong finger, and I feel like I wasn't concentrating. But then on the honeymoon, I really got to know that he is like super kind, caring, friendly. Like, we both have a love for animals. His maybe cats, mine maybe dogs, but it's still like something to connect on. Do you know what I mean? And I think just Thomas really being so understanding did help. Like, if I ever had an issue, or he, you know, vice versa, we tried to like understand where each other were coming from, but the communication was not good.
I think obviously it did take you guys a while, but where we're up to at the minute on the series, you probably seem like one of the strongest couples in the experiment at the moment. So how was kind of the process of, like, obviously it was kind of a start where you did need to obviously communicate better and everything. Obviously you had the meeting. Who was it with again?
Paul was
Paul?
yeah.
I think Paul went to see you. Obviously, he helped you like overcome some things, and I think gradually over time your communication got a little bit better. So how was that for you, and how did you kind of overcome that barrier almost?
Yeah, I think our communication was like shocking. It was like the whole cuddle thing at first. Like, I just wanted a cuddle for reassurance, whereas he obviously thought I wanted a cuddle for like, and I was like, I just needed to feel safe. Like, I had no family, friends. So I think our communication was shocking. And then Paul came in and saved us, really. He made us see that like Thomas was like listening to me, but not hearing what I was saying. And that was the same for me with him. When we had to repeat back what each other had said, it wasn't even what we'd said at all. And I think that's a huge thing in any relationship or marriage, is communication. And if you aren't on the same page, you're ruined.
Yeah, definitely, and obviously that did help you a lot, that meeting with Paul. So I imagine obviously after that it did get better, which we're seeing. And how would you say you like kind of like developed even further to that, to kind of get to obviously the love point on the experiment?
I think really for me, it was getting to know Thomas. Like,
Yeah.
for me, attraction isn't just the outside of someone, it's who they are on the inside. And I do take a long time. I remember like ex-partners being like, oh, you're so cold, you're icy. And it's like, yeah, because I don't trust you yet. I don't know you well enough to be my whole self around you. And I think like as I got to know Thomas more, like my barriers started to come down. I started realizing that he is caring, he is kind, you know, he is supportive. But until you see that beautiful side of people, this doesn't matter. You know what I mean? Like, everyone's like, he's so good looking, blah blah blah. It's not about that face value. Like, having a connection with someone's deeper. It's what they're like inside.
Yeah. I mean, especially when it's a stranger as well, who you've only just met for the first time on the wedding day. I imagine obviously the barrier's up even more, because you're thinking, am I going to get hurt off this person? What are they like? I've never met them before. I'm literally marrying them, which is obviously the aim of the show, Married at First Sight.
Well, that's it. And you're also bringing in hurt from previous relationships, you know, like trust issues, insecurities. To then walk down and marry a stranger, you've got to be so brave and so ready. And yeah, sometimes in the experiment, you're fully ready. And then what next week, you may be so insecure because the experiment's so intense. You know, all emotions can't be hidden behind a camera. So it's hard.
Yeah, I imagine obviously you don't know what's going to be shown as well, so you can't obviously. So you've just got to obviously be yourself and then wait and see
Yeah.
wait and see what's on. But how would you say you and Thomas are at this current point? Obviously, we're speaking in the series now. We've just had the retreat. How would you say you're getting on at this current point?
In the retreat, like Thomas is super amazing. Like right now, we're stronger than ever. Like I know that I'm feeling a little bit insecure. Like I've had a bit of a knock this week. I'm not feeling overly pretty. Like these are just all secret things that are going on in with me. And I feel all this time like I've been saying to Thomas, you're amazing, you're so good, and I feel like I was pouring my positivity into his cup. And it really, this week really showed me that he can do the same for me. Like when I'm not feeling 100% confident, he's there to, like, he may be a bit more introverted than I am, but he's still there to give me positivity and hold me up. And for me, that was just lovely to see and to feel that he actually cared enough to make me feel better. So yeah, I think we were just great on the retreat.
And obviously, there are things as well as a viewer that we're not seeing because obviously it was all surrounded obviously by the Ella and JJ,
Yeah.
them coming back into the experiment, which was which was quite a shock apparently, but I don't think it was really. I think everybody probably expected it.
I know,
I
because they
mean,
were like,
as a viewer, you guys probably weren't, but as a viewer, when you've seen it happen previous years, you probably thought, right, them two like each other. They're definitely coming back in a couple of episodes' time.
yeah, because I think that, like, when they were like, oh, you sad that Ella's going, and part of me was thinking, like, no, because I feel like she most definitely is coming back. And
Yeah.
they were like hiding it from us, but I was like, I'm not getting upset because I know in my heart Ella's coming back. Because they did it with Whitney last year, didn't they?
Yeah, there was Whitney, and I think there was the year before there was that aunt in Nikita.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
I think it's happened the last 2 years running, so it wasn't a surprise really when they had a connection then left, and then you did think obviously right these might be back.
Yeah, yeah. There is so much drama. I feel like that's the thing you don't see, like different like bits with other couples.
Yeah.
Maybe the quiet couples. Do you know what I mean? But who wants to know that? Like we're here for the drama, aren't we? At the end of the day.
But we've just been laughing off camera there before we obviously started this podcast because we were saying you and Thomas have at some of the dinner parties been fairly quiet because you've just been soaking up all the drama. What is the atmosphere like? Obviously, you're someone that hasn't been involved in the arguments as much. So what's it like being there, kind of just soaking it all? What's the atmosphere like when it's all kicking off?
I just feel like for me, I hate confrontation. So I feel like on edge when everyone's like kicking off and shouting at each other. I also think like these things, we don't have to shout and scream at each other. We can just have a conversation and work stuff out. But obviously, it won't be a good TV show if everyone was like me. Do you know what I mean? But I feel like I just ate bread and tried to stay out of it. But I feel like the atmosphere was intense. And these dinner parties would go on for hours. So this arguments wouldn't just be like 10 minutes like you see on screen. They're like 3 hours long, some of them. And it's like, God, it's a lot.
So can you, touching up on that, can you tell me what like the process of a dinner party day is like? Obviously, waking up in the morning, getting ready, going to the dinner party, and what time does it all roughly begin and how is the day?
I can't really remember. I think you wake up at like 7:30ish, 8ish in the morning. And then
Early then.
yeah, and then you film in the apartment getting ready, and then you filmed going to, and then you're in holding rooms till they set up, and then you filmed doing the mixer, and then you filmed doing the dinner party, and then after the dinner party, you filmed doing foxes. So really, you're not finishing till like 1 o'clock in the morning. So the more drama, the quicker we wrap up. So I'm like, anyone want to shout at anyone?
The more drama, the sooner you wrap up.
Yeah, we see how I get to go to bed. I'm
So, and at the dinner party, it's kind of like obviously, for someone like for a couple like you and Thomas who are like quite calm at
but
the parties. Are you ever there though, kind of thinking, right, are we ever going to get a dinner party where we can just sit down, have a nice dinner, and everyone's going to get on?
I know, but then I remember like that's never going to happen. All of these people are so different. We're all such different characters. It may be going smooth, and I may think that we've had the best dinner party, and then I'll hear off so and so that did you not know I had a row with so and so, and it's like, oh my God, like they've all had like arguments that I've not known about because I'm just busy eating my bread. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I
and
feel like it's a quiet one.
I know as soon the thing is, as soon as it's like going on as well at the dinner party, as soon like if it was going well, they just put the honesty box in there
Yeah.
or something, and that
Yeah.
would.
As soon as that honesty box comes out, I'm like, oh, I wish there was drama. I wish there was someone because I don't want the honesty box because I am honest enough. Like throughout the whole time, I have been brutally honest with Thomas,
Yeah.
and I don't need that box. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, because I think you genuinely have been one of the most genuine couples because of course at the start you were obviously quite like you did say that you were struggling to obviously like kind of get to know each other and connect, and obviously
Yeah.
you built on that, which obviously been great. And I think I didn't really agree with Arthur when he said that you weren't the most genuine when you were the least genuine that time.
I know because I thought the word's genuine, like if we aren't genuine, then why would I have been so honest with Thomas?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I would have just gone for an easy game then and just been like, yeah, I'm in love with him or whatever, or yeah, I've got strong feelings. Like being genuine is telling the truth. Like, and I think you've got more by being so brutally open and vulnerable and honest. You're opening yourself up to the public to have opinions and say, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and without kind of bringing these things up, you don't obviously know how to work on them.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Like, I just think this helped us so much to move forward. Like, Thomas always knew where I was at. Yeah, I may have been a wobble at the beginning, but that's just how I am. Like, I've got trust issues. I've got my own insecurities. He's a stranger. Like, we're trying to figure each other out. We've literally been thrown into the deep end. And I think clear communication is a great thing, when you marry a stranger.
yeah, because it's certainly a tough task, and obviously hats off to you for doing that. But if we talk about obviously like yours and Thomas's time where we are so far up to date on the show, what would you say has been a highlight for you so far, Roz?
Do you mean watching it or when I was actually there?
Let's go. Let's say both.
Because I think watching it, I laughed the most at Thomas using the word Neolithical simian. It makes me laugh so much when he said to Arthur, like, because that insult no one understands or no one
No.
understands. So I was like, why are you doing that? But the best moment I think whilst we were there was when Paul came in and Thomas and I really like after we had that open conversation with Paul, our communication style was so much better and we could actually move forward. We understood each other and our relationship started to grow.
And then yeah, obviously started to obviously grow and evolve with things after that, which is obviously which has got you to the strongest point of the relationship so far.
Yeah, and the sex toys.
That was very funny the other night. I
They help a little bit.
I think you guys probably did have the best love-hate relationship week because obviously some caused some drama, but I think you probably had the smoothest ride.
I feel like ours was the best love hate because not that we hate anything about each other, but we've always been honest about it.
Yeah,
So it wasn't a
understand.
shock. You know what I mean? Like we're not always just being like, "Oh, I love you," or "You're the best, you're the best." We'll literally tell each other like, "Don't do that, don't do this," and like having that openness then created Love Hate Week not to be an insult. Like we just took
Yeah.
it I like a pinch of salt, and
Because
also like
yeah.
understand like I'm sorry you feel like that way about me. I will try and change it. I'll try and do better.
And I think obviously like being so open all along the experiment was obviously helped Jews.
Yeah, and at least I
Yeah.
felt comfortable, like Thomas would take the sex toy thing okay. Do you know what I mean? Because he was like,
Yeah.
how he's gonna take it. He's a bit more like prude than me. And I thought, but sex is, I don't care what people say, it's a huge part in a relationship.
Yeah.
And I think there's such like a stigma around sex and stuff like that. And it's like, why? Like, everyone does it. We're all made the same way. And it's like, yeah, if you've not got that openness with your partner, then it's never gonna work.
Yeah, I think you're definitely right there. And obviously to obviously have a marriage, it's one of the most important things.
Yeah, you can't reproduce if they ain't doing it right.
No, certainly not. I want to also talk about obviously fellow cast members because I always like to ask who are the cast members you've gelled with the best and taken friendships outside of the experiment with?
The thing is with me is like every time someone talks about anyone, I'm like, oh, I love them. Oh, I love them. So it's like I just love everyone. But I think like my closest friends are Ella, Tasha, Jay, out the girls. And then I'd say boys is Luke, Thomas, and Paul, maybe JJ. I just love them all. It's hard to say.
I imagine that's good when like someone like you who gets on with everybody because I imagine there's a bit of bad blood between some people still. I imagine.
I know, like part of me, like, because I
Yeah.
like to see everyone's friendly. I'm like, I don't like to see them as falling out. So I'm like, no, they've made up. No, they're friends. Everyone's friends. We're one big happy family. But in families, everyone always has arguments. But because
Yeah.
you're a family, it's easy to make up.
Because there's been like a little bit of a TikTok spat between Jordan and Luke recently, hasn't there?
I know, and I just find it hilarious. Like, I don't know what's going on there, but as I watch, I find it funny. Like them taking a mick out of each other, and it's like, I think it's like humor. I'd hope it's humor because it makes me laugh, and I hope that it's not being actually mean to each other.
Yeah, because I know Jordan put a video and then Luke kind of had like something on his hair, didn't he, to obviously mock Jordan by having an England shirt and basically pretending to be Jack Grealish.
Yeah, but then you see, um, Jordan did it back with like a shirt and fake tan curling his eyelashes.
I haven't seen that one. I seen Jordan's first one, then I seen Luke's response, but no, I haven't seen that one.
Oh, you need to see it. It's really funny. So I like to think it's in jest, but I don't know. I don't know with those boys.
And I think we're probably going to see a lot of their storyline develop over the next few days.
Oh
Obviously,
God,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. But I wanted to ask, could you give obviously I did this for George. Could you kind of tease the rest of your journey for the rest of the experiment?
Oh, what can I say? I think with Thomas and I, we're interesting. Like we may be quiet, but I think we're like ones to watch. And yeah, you just got to, I don't know what, you just got to think where we're going to go. I don't know. You can think for yourself.
I guess it's Married at First Sight's a show where anything can happen as well. So
I know I'm too scared to say anything like in case it leads to like, but yeah, really, we are all strangers. Like from 1 week, you're madly in love and you're really happy to a next week where it's all just going down the pan. Do you know what I mean? And it's like you can't predict. But the thing is, in there, a week is like a month. It's so long. So
I
yeah.
imagine it feels like a very long time. Yeah. Have you had any encounters out in the public yet, Roz?
What do you mean?
I was speaking again with George about this, where you might just be in the supermarket or something, and someone said she's from Married at First Sight.
Oh God, yeah, but genuinely, like, I look terrible, and it's like, why? No, we're not having a picture, but you've got to be polite. Like, yeah, of course you can have a picture, and I'm like, let me see it. I look terrible, but it's weird getting because like now you can't just go out. Like I went to a cafe the other day, and they're like, oh my God, it's you from Married at First Sight, and it's like, yeah, now. Right now, you can't just go out discreetly, and I think the top
Yeah.
I had on had like all paint over it, and I had wellies on, and I was like, this is not a good look.
Being finished after a work day, and obviously you've then been caught.
Yeah, and it is nice, but then also you never know what that person actually thinks of you from the edit. And
Yeah.
it's like the first couple of weeks was hard for me because obviously people weren't liking me, weren't liking the honesty, and I was scared to go out.
Really?
Yeah, only because like in this world it is sad that there is like hate, and I know you get hate, but it's like it's a pinhole of what we're actually like as people. And it surprises me that there are trolls out there that know tiny amount of you that will personally come to your photos, and write the most disgusting hate. And it's like, what's happened? Like, what's happened so badly that they've got that much time in there, to do that?
Yeah, it's not a good thing, and it unfortunately happened with a lot of TV shows. Some have obviously had bad repercussions
Yeah.
because of it, and it's not a good thing, because at the end of the day, it is a TV show, and everybody's human at the end of the day. And on a thing like Married at First Sight, obviously, it's a tough show as well.
Yeah, like, and I think the people that do this, like, they wouldn't be ballsy enough to do what I've done or
Yeah.
anyone has done. Like, it takes a lot of courage to do this sort of thing. And I understand, like, it's the world we live in, but makes me sad, because it's like, God, I sometimes don't have the time to reply to my friends, let alone troll some poor person on the internet. But it is the world we live in, and it's just sad, because I just wish they'd think, how would they feel if their daughter was getting that, or their son was getting that, or they were getting it? It's not nice.
Themselves. Yeah. So it is a shame, and obviously, if you can obviously like take on the chin and everything, and just think, well, you must be bored. Then obviously that's a really good thing.
Yeah, and also you're thinking about me at 11 o'clock at night. I mean, winner.
it means you're in their head constantly.
Poor souls.
So obviously, it's obviously they've got a strong issue if they're constantly thinking about somebody.
Yeah.
Let them carry on with it.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, maybe I just don't have enough space in my head for that. But I think when you're busy all day, every day with work, like, your mind's on different things. But yeah, I think it's just the world we live in, unfortunately. And the people that actually matter are your friends and family. And when they're beautiful to you, that's all you want to impress, really.
And obviously, undoubtedly, there'll be loads of support from the public.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, probably
Like,
obviously outweighing the majority who aren't particularly being nice.
yeah, and like, some people send the sweetest messages, and it's like, also like, wow, they've taken time out of their day. Like, I do try and reply to everyone that's really
Yeah,
nice. It's like they take time out of their day to actually message you. And the same breath, like, I struggle sometimes to be messaging back friends in the day, and they've done that to you, and it's really, really nice. So yeah, it comes with, hate comes with all the love. So lucky.
definitely. But I want to, before we go, I want to say, have you got any plans? Obviously, moving forward, Roz. I imagine you're back at work now during this whole show airing.
I know. I feel like it's hard, because I know, like, some of the cast, they, have quit their jobs, and I'm like, wow, it is tasking. Like, obviously, I can't quit the business, so I do feel sometimes overwhelmed with running the business, running social media, mentally being on the show. But I don't really know what the future holds. Hopefully, just encourage young people and women that you can go into business, you can do flower growing. And just really inspire, like, the younger generation, that you can do anything. You don't have to be the brightest button or whatever it is, the sharpest pencil. Is that what they say? But like, yeah, you just try hard and have drive and charisma, and you can do whatever you want.
I think that's brilliant. Obviously, you can kind of give you can be kind of a platform, like, on social media and everything too, for people to obviously get in and do these things.
Yeah, so I don't really know. Like, does life really change after MAFS? I don't know.
I think it can. I think it depends. I think some people obviously look to go down a certain route, but then some just want to get back on with their normal lives, which is totally fine. I think that's a part and parcel with TV, really.
Yeah, and I
Yeah.
think, like, it totally depends, doesn't it? Like, I don't really know. Like, I'm just grateful for everything in life. So
Yeah.
it's like, I'm just grateful for whatever comes my way. Do you know what I mean?
And just soaking up the experience of being on MAFS at the minute.
Yeah, and I think, like, it's obviously you want to get your ducks in a row, but it's like, I also don't want to be ungrateful. Like, to be given this opportunity is incredible in itself, and it's like, I'm just grateful for everything in life right now.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's a great way of putting it. And Roz, I'd like to thank you so much for joining me on the podcast to chat today. It's been lovely to have you on.
Oh, no problem. Well, thank you for reaching out, and it's been nice chatting to you. Sorry, I'm so crazy.
No, it's been great having you on.